You're watching Swipe. Coming up, how technology is helping people with motor neurone disease. The Invictus Games, we find out how advanced prosthetics are helping athletes compete. We take a look at the cannon designed to fire salmon. And we review the hottest titles at this year's Gamescom. For most of us, using our tablets is all about browsing online, keeping up to date with news and maybe playing some games. But imagine if using your iPad was the only way you could communicate with the world around you. Well, this week we're at the Royal Hospital for Neurodisability in London, where many people with motor neurone disease are receiving treatment. And for some of them, technology is the only way they can have a voice. Will Sargent has been finding out more.
It was nice too.
Motor neurone disease has robbed Maureen of her ability to speak, but that doesn't mean she can't be heard.
We could all go.
Yeah.
Like many people living with a condition, she communicates through a specially designed app on her iPad.
I am totally reliant on my iPad. I have no speech and cannot write as my right hand has now been affected by the MND. I carry my iPad with me everywhere as it is my only means of communication.
Around 5,000 people in the UK live with motor neurone disease. It causes nerve cells in the brain and spinal cord to stop working properly and can leave people unable to move, talk and eventually even breathe.
She will be furious.
Oh, blimey, yeah, she'll go mad.
Despite her illness, Maureen is able to enjoy a full life. She goes out for meals with friends and looks forward to shopping trips. And her iPad means she can still take part in the conversations.
Did she go with that friend?
Very nice.
Lynn's known her for over 30 years.
We go out together a lot in groups, and with the iPad, she can press the button. We can all hear what she wants to say, and she can sometimes interrupt us. Where with writing by hand, you haven't got the voice, and you sort of feel you've reclaimed a bit of Maureen really through the iPad.
Another development helping people is eye gaze technology. It allows people who can't control their muscles to use computers simply by moving their eyes. Infrared lights and a camera track movement, and once you've set it up, you're in control of what you see on the screen.
So H, OK, hi.
Mick Donegan runs a charity that helps people get access to the system.
With this technology, you can use it, as I showed you, to be able to speak. You're able to go online, you're able to do your shopping, you're able to express yourself creatively, whether it be writing music or art and design, and you're able to send emails, etc., and be involved and take control.
Motor neurone disease progresses quickly, and at the moment there's no cure. But today's technology is making life easier for thousands of people across the UK.
Don't let them see what I am writing.
Will Sargent, Sky News.
Well, joining me now is Christine Strohmeyer from the Motor Neurone Disease Association. Christine, thanks for joining us. We saw the importance of this technology in Will's piece there, but how easy is it to teach people how to use such devices?
It depends on the person with MND, I guess, whether they are familiar with technology, whether they have used, for example, a tablet before or not. Normally what happens, a speech and language therapist will sit down with them, look at the different options and talk it through and see which piece of equipment and which software is actually the best for them.
So there are different stages, and you've brought some other low-tech examples in with us, haven't you?
This is called a light writer, and this might be the better option compared to a tablet because this has the keypads. And if you're struggling with using a tablet because of problems with dexterity in your hands, you might find this easier.
Okay, so there are different stages, and you've brought in some lower tech versions. Just talk us through what we've got here.
This is called an e-trans frame, and this is what we recommend for all people with MND to have in any case, as a backup, if you like. If there's a problem with their tablet or PC, they can actually use that to communicate.
And that's a form of the eye gaze technology that we saw in Will's
Yes,
piece.
in some ways, because people with MND would look at the different colours and letters, and then the other person would know what they're looking at.
Are these bits of equipment recycled?
They are. And when a person with MND dies, for example, the light writer would come back to National Office, and then my colleagues there would have to clear all the messages.
And clear those stored phrases.
Yes,
That
yeah.
must be really quite moving.
It is.
And what about access to technology and devices?
Unfortunately, in England, that's still quite a postcode lottery. It depends on where you live, whether you have access to any piece of equipment at all, or whether you get it in time, because as we've heard, motor neuron disease progresses very rapidly, so time is of the essence for people with MND, and sometimes they just simply do not get the equipment they need in time.
Christine, thanks for joining us. You're watching Swipe. Coming up, going for gold with high-tech prosthetics. But first, Gamescom kicked off in Cologne this week. It's the world's biggest trade show for interactive games. We sent Jane Douglas along, and she even filmed us a video diary.
Hi guys, this is Jane on Gamescom 2014 Day 1. This is the biggest games convention in Europe and the biggest public games convention, most importantly. This year there are about 700 exhibitors, and if you think it looks busy now, bear in mind that today, Day 1, is technically not a public day of the show. The first public day of the show is tomorrow, on Thursday. And so the people down on the show floor are ostensibly all trade visitors and members of the press, and yet it is still very, very busy. So yeah, it's going to get hectic up to and over the weekend. This morning, the games publisher Electronic Arts had a conference down on the show floor. They were showing off Dragon Age Inquisition, which is the big fantasy RPG sequel from BioWare. Now, as far as I'm concerned personally, EA have made their sale, because I am a big Dragon Age fan, but it was still looking really good there in the conference. We saw a little more gameplay. For me, it was the standout of the EA showcase, but then I am a bit of a BioWare fan as well. We also got a new look at Sims 4, another very big franchise for EA, and FIFA 15. You may have heard of this little game called FIFA. I think it's about football. They capped it off with Battlefield Hardline, which is the up-and-coming cops and crooks shooter from the Battlefield mega franchise. And I was really pleased to see it looking better, I thought, than it did at E3 back in June, especially since the game's now been delayed into 2015. Highlight of my day is I got to play Assassin's Creed Unity, which is the Assassin's Creed game coming out this autumn on the new consoles. That's the Xbox One and the PS4 and also PC, but not on the Xbox 360 or the PS3. But don't worry, Assassin's Creed fans, you are getting your own Assassin's Creed for the 360 and the PS3 in Assassin's Creed Rogue, which is also coming out this autumn. So although the new consoles, the Xbox One and the PS4, are still new, we're coming up to their second Christmas on the market, and we're starting to see the first wave of third-party games that are being made just for the new consoles and not being compromised, shall we say, for the Xbox 360 and the PS3. So it lets the developers really go all out, making their games for the more advanced hardware. Okay guys, that's it from me here at Gamescom 2014 in Germany, Cologne. Thanks for watching.
You're watching Swipe. Coming up, we bring you up to date with all the latest tech news. But first, next month the Invictus Games come to London. That's when more than 400 wounded servicemen and women will compete using some pioneering prosthetics. We sent Siobhan Robbins to meet the British Armed Forces team.
Well, over the last few years, prosthetics have hugely advanced, and many of the athletes taking part in the Invictus Games will rely on them. I'm joined here by Dave Henson. Just talk me through your prosthetics. How have they been designed to help you?
So these prosthetics are from a company called Otto Bock, who's an Austrian manufacturer, and these particular legs were commissioned through research conducted with the US Department of Defense, so they're very much tailored towards the needs of military personnel and the needs of an active amputee. So they've got multiple sensory systems in, so they've got gyroscopes, they've got accelerometers, they've got knee flexion potentiometers, they're fitted with Bluetooth for connection to the computer and easy programming for each individual's needs. So these legs themselves have actually allowed me to get up and go doing my daily business for a lot longer and a lot quicker than I used to be able to do. So this manufacturer had some very good legs beforehand, and then they applied their knowledge and their expertise in prosthetics to the military and the needs of the military, came up with some prosthetics that are even better, and here we are. I can get up and go all day long, as quick, as slow as I need to. I can stop, start, up and down stairs, up and down ramps like I've not been able to do. So it's actually allowed me to just get on with my life rather than worrying about what kind of terrain I'm going to face, what kind of obstacles I'm going to face, and particularly somewhere like London where there's so many different potential obstacles. It's fantastic.
And many of the other athletes also will rely on their prosthetics. How different does it make your experience of sport, the range that's now available?
The range of different prosthetics that you can get is huge. So my particular experience with other prosthetics is with my running blade. So I wear a carbon fibre running blade, very similar to what you see on some of the guys in the Paralympics. And it's allowed me to go from not just being able to walk, but being able to go quickly and almost as fast as I need to again. And actually now I'm putting in some really competitive times over 200 metres, which when you apply my times to sort of everyday I've got knees and legs type population, I'm actually doing probably better timings than they would, and I don't have knees or ankles. So these components are incredibly good for what we need them to, and it gives us our freedom back.
Dave, thank you. Well, as you heard there, a huge part of the Games, and we'll be watching carefully Team GB as they participate in September.
You're watching Swipe. Coming up, the best titles from Gamescom. But first, here's a roundup of anything you might have missed this week.
It's the new social media craze. You fill a bucket with ice-cold water, pour it over yourself, then nominate 3 others to do the same. Now, Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg has joined in after New Jersey Governor Chris Christie nominated him. The 30-year-old billionaire then picked Netflix founder Reed Hastings, Facebook partner Sheryl Sandberg, and Microsoft founder Bill Gates. A company in the US has created a salmon cannon which sucks fish out of the water and fires them over dams. The fish swim into one end and a vacuum fires them through the pipe at speeds of up to 22 miles per hour. Salmon are born in freshwater before migrating to the ocean, then return to their place of birth to lay their spawn. But obstacles like dams can make this journey difficult. Samsung will reportedly show off a virtual reality headset at an event on September the 3rd. According to tech website The Verge, Project Moonlight will have lenses that convert a smartphone into an immersive world. We're also told the device will have a focus dial and a micro USB connection that links to your phone. The maker of the mobile game Candy Crush Saga has seen its shares tumble 22% on the New York Stock Exchange. King Digital Entertainment's revenue fell by 2% from the first quarter of 2014, with revenue at £353 million. That's £9 million lower than expected. The company floated in March, raising £302 million. Hundreds of thousands of people are boycotting goods produced by Israeli-linked companies using a barcode scanning app. Boycott lets you filter items according to where they've come from, so users can avoid supporting causes they disagree with. The group Long Live Palestine Boycott Israel lists 49 brands to avoid and has around 275,000 members. Have you ever wondered what a gallery looks like after dark? Well, thanks to a team of robots, you can now roam around London's Tate Britain without buying a ticket. The mechanical guides will travel around the gallery every night until Sunday, August the 17th. And you can watch it all from your bed.
Now, if Jane's video diary from Gamescom wasn't enough to satisfy your gaming needs, we got Guy Cocker to road test a few of the titles from the event. See what you think of these.
Swapper is coming to PlayStation 4. It's out now. It's a great little indie game that was released on PC last year, and it's finally made its way after many delays to PlayStation 4 as well as PlayStation 3 and PlayStation Vita. And the reason that I love this game so much is that it's a really imaginative puzzle game. It's unlike anything else. It's set in the farthest reaches of space. And you use an experimental device that allows you to create clones of yourself to solve challenges and puzzles. A lot of the challenges and the puzzles can be a little bit more difficult to navigate on the PlayStation 4's pad than it was on the PC with the mouse. But despite that, it's a really, really enjoyable game, like I say, unlike anything else out there. And one of the really neat features that I like about this game is if you buy it on PlayStation 4, it then transfers to PlayStation 3 if you've got one of those as well, and the PlayStation Vita, so you can play it on the go. And like I say, it's one of the best indie games of recent years. So Risen 3 Titan Lords is a PC role-playing game, and when you say the words role-playing game, this is what I think of, really. It's one of those hardcore role-playing games, very traditional, so that means that you get all of the traditional tropes, like mages and voodoo priestesses and crystals loaded with magic energy and all that sort of stuff. However, it's also got all of the RPG stuff that fans love, such as big decisions that have an impact on the story, fun gameplay, and a massive amount of exploration. It's a huge, huge game. This is the third entry in the series, so if you've played the previous game, that might help understand some of the story elements, but it's not vital. But this particular entry, the third one, has improved character development. It's got a huge world. However, the graphics aren't very impressive. The acting is pretty terrible, and the combat hasn't improved much. So it's actually quite frustrating, the combat. They've still not perfected it. So for that reason, I say it's not an essential role-playing game. It's one for the fans of the series, really, this one. Diablo III Ultimate Evil Edition is the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One version of the previously released Diablo III. It's been on the PC and it's come to PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, but because this is on the next-gen consoles, it looks even better. Like Risen 3, it's a role-playing game, very traditional, but it's much better than Risen 3. It's very, very polished. The combat is absolutely, I'd say it's close to perfect. Diablo, again, has been going for a long time, so the developers Blizzard have really polished it at this stage. And basically, you just fight off wave after wave of enemy.
Go! Find the Nephilim!
It's absolutely superb. The level design is fantastic. And as I said, the Reaper of Souls edition is very, very good as well. I would say if you're going to play the game, and you can play it on PC, the controls are a little bit more suited to PC. But this is a really robust package, really great value, and you can play it cooperatively either in your front room or online.
No one can stop death.
So Modern Combat 5 Blackout is a mobile game that's set in the sort of military shooter genre that Call of Duty owns so well in the traditional console space, and it is pretty much a shameless rip-off of the Call of Duty series. It's called something very similar, but there's been 5 of these. The game itself has got everything you would want from a military shooter. It's got, obviously, the bombastic set pieces, the mountains and mountains of guns, people talking military nonsense, all that sort of stuff. And it's really, really well produced if you're into that sort of thing. The problem is that there's something about it that's a little bit generic. It's not really that exciting, but it really doesn't do anything new. And it's got the fundamental problem that the touchscreen controls just aren't suited to a military shooter. And as far as I understand, and speaking to the developers, they're not introducing, on the iPhone at least, the new controllers that you can plug into your iPhone to have a more traditional experience. So if you're into military shooters, this one might be for you, but it wasn't one that I particularly enjoyed.
Thanks, Guy. That's it for this week, but don't forget you can keep up to date with all the breaking tech stories on Sky News for iPad, our smartphone apps, and skynews.com. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.